My name is Elijah Brooks, and I never imagined I'd be the one saying this. I used to roll my eyes at church stuff. All of it. Jesus? Heaven? I figured people just needed something to believe and to sleep at night. I wasn't an atheist exactly, I just didn't care. I was more focused on TikTok, late-night group chats, and figuring out how to make my weekends feel like freedom. I had plans. I had a future. And I thought I had all the time in the world. That is, until the day everything changed. The day I died. It was a Thursday, a totally normal school day. I remember it so clearly. I woke up late, almost missed the bus, skipped breakfast like always. I barely said a word to my mom before running out the door. I had earbuds in the whole time, listening to this new track that just dropped the night before. School was school, boring, loud, routine. At lunch, I was cracking jokes with my best friend Marcus. We were clowning around like we always did, teasing each other over who was going to ask that girl from English class to homecoming. It was all just harmless fun. Then it happened. We were walking across the school parking lot, heading toward Marcus's car. I don't even know where the truck came from. 1 second we were laughing, the next, I heard tires screeching and Marcus yell my name. I turned my head and, boom. Darkness. At first, it was like nothing. No pain. No sound. Just stillness. I wasn't in my body anymore, but I could see everything. I watched the scene unfold like I was hovering above it. My body was on the pavement, crumpled like a doll. Blood on the ground. People screaming. Marcus on his knees crying. Teachers running out of the school. Someone calling 911. But I felt none of it. I wasn't scared. I wasn't even sure what was happening. I just felt weightless. Confused. Detached. Then something strange happened. A light appeared in the distance, but not warm, glowing, grandma's hug kind of light. It was intense. Pulling. It didn't ask. It commanded. I was being drawn toward it, like gravity. And as I moved closer, I felt something inside me shift. Not fear. Not comfort either. Something like urgency. Like whatever was coming wasn't just about me. And then I saw him. Standing in the middle of the light was a figure so radiant I couldn't look at him directly. But somehow, I knew it was Jesus. Not the soft, smiling Jesus from stained glass windows. This was different. This Jesus was majestic. Holy. His eyes looked into the deepest parts of me, and I couldn't hide anything, not even the thoughts I'd never said out loud. He didn't need to ask who I was. He already knew. And the moment our eyes met, I knew this wasn't some dream or vision. This was real. More real than anything I'd ever felt. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. But his presence alone exposed everything in me. He looked at me with sadness, not disappointment, not rage, but this heartbreaking sorrow. like he'd been trying to reach me for a long time and I just hadn't noticed. He said my name, Elijah. And then, with more weight than I can describe, he said, "Your generation is walking blindly toward destruction." That line echoed in my chest. I wanted to respond, to ask what he meant. But the moment I tried to speak, visions began to flood my mind, so fast and vivid it was like I was inside them, not just seeing them. The first vision showed a massive church, beautiful, with stained glass, a huge cross, rows of people sitting in pews. But when I looked closer, something felt off. The people were bored, scrolling on phones, whispering, sleeping. Some were even watching videos during worship. The preacher spoke, but his words felt empty, like rehearsed lines without conviction. And the saddest part? Jesus wasn't in the room. He stood outside the doors, knocking. But no one heard him. "They call me Lord," he said, "but they do not know me." The second vision was even harder to watch. It was the world burning. Cities engulfed in flames. Not just physically, but spiritually. Families torn apart. Truth mocked. People laughing at sin, calling it freedom. I saw classrooms where kids were taught there was no right or wrong, only what you feel. I saw screens filled with filth, glorifying darkness. Music that celebrated rebellion. Movies that turned evil into entertainment. People worshiping fame, money, sex, but their eyes were hollow. Jesus whispered, "Darkness has become entertainment." Then came the third vision. I'll never forget it. A line, long, endless, stretching into a black void. People walking slowly, heads down, towards something I couldn't fully see, but I knew. I knew it was hell. And they didn't even realize it. Teenagers, kids, adults. Some were people I recognized. From school. From my street. A girl I had once flirted with at a party. A guy who used to sit next to me in math. They looked confused. Lost. Some laughed. Others looked numb. None of them looked up. None of them turned back. I screamed, "Stop! Don't go! Turn around!" But they couldn't hear me. Jesus turned to me, eyes full of pain, and said, "This is why you must return." Then he placed his hand on my forehead and said, "Go back. Tell them. Warn them." I woke up screaming. The room was spinning. The lights above me felt like spotlights. Nurses rushed in, shouting to each other. One held my arms down while another checked monitors. I was soaked in sweat, but my body felt like it had been dunked in ice. It was hard to breathe. I was crying and yelling, "I saw him. I saw him. Jesus, he's real." The doctors said I had flatlined for nearly 4 minutes. They called it a miracle. Some said maybe it was a trauma response. But I knew what I saw. I knew it wasn't a dream, a hallucination, or some fantasy. Everything in me was different. I felt like I'd been burned clean. Like I couldn't go back to who I was, even if I tried. When my mom came in, she was crying. But when I told her what happened, everything, from the visions to Jesus' voice, she froze. Then she whispered, "I've been praying for this moment for years." I think she always knew I was drifting, even if I hid it well. But now there was no hiding left. The real challenge started when I tried telling others. I told Marcus first. He stared at me like I was high. "Dude," he said, "you almost died. You probably saw some stuff, but it wasn't real." I told him it was more real than anything we've ever known. That I saw people we went to school with in that line heading toward destruction. That we were living in a world on fire and pretending like it's just warm. He didn't know what to say. Eventually, he just stopped replying to my texts. Then I spoke at youth group. Our church let me share what happened. Some teens laughed. A few walked out. But others broke. I remember this girl, Madison, she sobbed through the whole thing. Afterward, she came up and said, "I've been so far from God, but something inside me woke up when you spoke." We prayed right there in front of everyone. Still, the pushback was intense. One of my teachers called my mom, saying I was unstable. A counselor at school asked if I needed medication. People online said I was trying to go viral for clout. Even some people at church said I was being dramatic. That I should tone it down. That Jesus doesn't scare people into salvation. But I'm not here to scare people. I'm here to warn them. Because what I saw was terrifying, not because Jesus is cruel, but because the world is numb. People are walking into darkness thinking it's light. They're going through life distracted by noise, screens, games, gossip, never once thinking about what comes next. And what's worse, so many churches are asleep. Pastors won't preach truth because they don't want to lose their audience. Youth groups are more focused on pizza parties than repentance. We're entertaining ourselves to death. And Jesus is standing at the door, knocking. But no one hears him over the music. One night, a few weeks after the accident, I had another dream. Not a vision like before, but more like a whisper in the night. I saw myself holding a torch, burning bright, and walking through a dark forest. Behind me were other torches lighting up one by one. Some flickered. Some burned out. But others blazed even brighter. I heard a voice, his voice, say, "Let your flame be a warning and a guide." Since then, I've shared my story at schools, churches, youth camps, anywhere that will listen. Sometimes people roll their eyes. But sometimes they cry. They come up to me shaking. They say things like, "I've been so far gone, but something told me to watch your video." Or, "I heard the same whisper in my sleep last week." Or, "I haven't talked to God in years, but I want to now." It's not about me. I'm not special. I'm not perfect. I'm just a kid who died and saw what's really at stake. There are still moments I wish I could go back to being normal. Just chilling with friends. Scrolling in bed. Pretending life is simple. But I can't. I've seen the truth. I've seen what's coming. And I can't stay silent. If you're hearing this, I want you to know. Jesus is real. Not church Jesus. Not Sunday school Jesus. Not poster on your wall Jesus. I'm talking about the living King. The one who sees through your soul and still loves you. The one who died so you wouldn't have to stay in the dark. The one who's coming back and coming soon. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't ignore that tug on your heart. Don't scroll past this message and tell yourself you'll think about it later. Later isn't promised. I should have died. But by grace, I was sent back to tell you. Wake up. He's calling you. If you've been drifting, if your faith is cold, or if you're not sure where you stand with Jesus, this is your wake-up call. Don't be one of the people in that line I saw. You were made for more. Jesus is reaching for you right now. Like, comment, and share this with someone you love. And drop a comment below. What's God saying to you right now? Don't wait. He's calling. Will you answer?